Hello, Marvel fans. This is Dan Stevens again to bring you part two of this this news of Spider-Man. What Kevin Feige's been going on about lately about him. And if you haven't seen my first part of it, there's a link to it on the description below, so you can go watch that first, and then after you've seen it, you can come back here and hear the rest of the news. So anyway, let's get started. So his next bit, he was going on talking about origin story. And I'll just read you. It will not be an origin story, as it was obvious, but with great power comes great responsibility. It is inherited to who his character is, but we want to reveal it in different ways and spend many more times focusing on this young high school kid in the MCU dealing with his powers. So as we know, the new film's not going to be an origin story. I mean, it's obvious because they already said it that they don't want to do that again. Because we've already known his story. We've seen two different ways of his story. We don't want to see it again. So it's best we just leave that and just jump to where he is now. And they also want to try to make it like as I said, reveal it in different ways, And they also want to spend many more time focusing on young Spider-Man, in high school. They want to focus on him when he's young, when he's in high school. Also, they want to focus him like dealing with his powers, learning these powers, learning how, Peter has to deal with the powers he's got, learning how to use them, that kind of way they're saying it here. He's saying it. All right, this next one, this is interesting. There is a young kid running around New York City in a homemade version of the Spider-Man costume in the MCU. You just didn't know it yet. So that's really to say that he's already been bitten. So he might have been bitten like, I don't know, halfway of phase 1 or phase 2 or maybe in the end of phase 1. I mean, that's really interesting to hear because so he's already been bitten. He's already been out there, beating crime. He's got a homemade costume of it. I don't know if that's the first look, what he wore. Maybe like Tommy Maguire's version when he made first, to go for the western thing, and then later on he makes a better one. Or actually it could be that, yeah. Could be like that also in the Amazing Spider-Man when Andrew Garfield he kind of had a homemade one first. Well, it wasn't really like it was just like a coat he had and just put a mask on, but you know what I'm getting at. So he's been out there already with a homemade one, not a full-on proper one yet. And, excuse me. So he's been fighting criminals already then. He's been running around New York. So that's really clever then, how they've put him in the MCU. So, because, they didn't put anything back in the old, other films, because we didn't have him then. But that'll be interesting how they'll deal with that bit when he makes his first appearance in the film. Well, in the proper Marvel film as well. Because he's going to make his appearance in Civil War. So, anyway, I just can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that. So, moving on. Now, as he go on saying about the costume, and this is what he says. I mean, look, I was more involved in the Rams. I think that's how you say his name. I'll spell it out for you. R-A-R. Oh, forget that. I think that's a name, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm just guessing. Once and think they did a very good job, but that being said, we already designed the costume, which is different than any of the ones that have become before, and yet ours is classic Spidey, as I think you'll see. So they've designed the costume, so they've already made it. They've made the costume already, but I wonder how come they haven't released it yet. But I've got my feelings. Maybe they're going through it again. Maybe they're having a look at it again. Just in case they've done something wrong. They want to see if the costume looks right. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're going through. Maybe they're looking at it again. Or maybe they might have spotted something wrong, like the logo of him didn't look right. So maybe they might have re-changed it. I don't know. But that's what they're saying. But as they said as well, it's going to be different from the others, so it's going to be a classic. So that means it looks like it's going to be kind of like a comic book version of it. So that'll be interesting what it'll look like, because I actually do want to see something very different from the other two. But I mean, they wanted to keep the red and blue the same. I mean, don't want that to change, but you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. Now, before I did this video, I was trying to get what the hell this meant, but now I know what it means. But in a way, I think I do, but I'll try and explain it. But this is what they say: Spider-Man, we knew about when we were doing that announcing in October. It could have gone anyways, and Marvel, as you well know, didn't announce anything on offer it until it's set in stone. So I think I know what he means, so I'll say here. I think what it means is, like, after the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean, it didn't get good ratings because, you know, because they didn't do it right, you know, they changed it from the, you know, they didn't kind of look like from the first Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man film, you know, because you remember in the one of those videos I said they were kind of doing like a night theme when he attacks the villains at night, but then when it came to the second one, he was kind of doing like a day one. And we all know that he didn't do well in the budget, you know, and Sony were getting in trouble, would get into big trouble with that, you know, because they wasn't making money, and that's why really they didn't really announce a lot of news of Sinister Six when they did have that in planned in Sony's universe Spider-Man way, but we all know that doesn't work. But we still know that that's still gonna happen, that film, because, well, we don't know when, but we know the Sinister Six are still gonna happen. So really, that's what they were saying there. So Sony knew they had to do something about it. So they knew they had to do the deal, but maybe they thought first, hang on, we'll try to do this first, and if it works out, we won't do it. Maybe that's what they were trying to do first. Maybe they were trying to figure out their own way, but then when they couldn't think of it, they were like, oh, okay, we'll make a deal with Marvel and we'll let them have him. So maybe that's what kind of might have gone down. Now, on to the last two news. Now, this is very different from Peter Parker. It's not. It kind of talks about Peter Parker, but this is what it goes on about. Someone was asking about. Well, and I'll just read it. I mean, we already thought it should be Peter. We've never seen the MCU version of Peter Parker, and it felt like we need to see that first. So, as I said in my last one, my last video, I mean, because in the past they said about, you know, it was going to be Miles Morales this time around, you know, this Spider-Man was going to be Miles Morales, and really, you don't want to start with Miles Morales. As I said, we haven't seen the MCU version of Peter Parker, so that's good what they're doing then. They already, when they were, you know, we were talking about a deal with Spider-Man, and, you know, I'll say back before they had him back, they said, alright, we got to do Peter Parker because we can't do Miles Morales. We got to stick with Peter Parker. So that's good news to see. That is very good news to hear about that then. Because that's a very good question. That whoever asked him about Miles Morales, should we have him as Peter Parker to start as Spider-Man? Whoever asked that one, that's a good thing he mentioned that to Kevin Feige. Because we wouldn't have got this news then, and we would all still worried of what was going on. Well, some people might have been who didn't heard that Peter Parker was the MCU starting Spider-Man. But anyway, the last news. The person asked Kevin Feige, are we ever going to see Miles Morales? You know, are we ever going to see him in the future? You know, after Peter Parker, and he says, Miles, I think he's awesome. There are opportunities for him for sure if this all works. So, really, what they're saying is, if this all works, you know, if this Spider-Man works, you know, if Marvel don't mess him up, you know, if they try to keep it the right track, you know, if they get this all right, you know, if all the films work out and they get a lot of money out of this, you know, and everyone loves this Peter Parker, then that looks like in the future we could see a Miles Morales film as Spider-Man. I mean, I would love to see that, really. I mean, the only one time I've seen Miles Morales so far was in anime. In anime way, like in the Ultimate Spider-Man, like the Web Warriors one, when Spider-Man travelled to different dimensions. I've only seen Miles Morales in that. I mean, I've heard a little bit of what he's done in the comics. I mean, I haven't read the comics, but I've heard that he's a little bit of difference to Spidey. Well, he's not very different, but I heard that he's got a new ability. But that's all I've heard. So I think that's a good idea. I would love to see a Miles Morales in a movie, Well, not to start, maybe to like after Peter Parker, you know. I think they should. I think that would be good if everything, as I said, if it all works out, then we will have Miles Morales. You know, they'll do a Miles Morales Spider-Man film. The only way I want, if that happens, I wonder what they'll call the film. Will they call it a Miles Morales Spider-Man, or they might just call it Ultimate Spider-Man because that's what they call the comic book. Anyway, that's all the news from that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Really, I mean, that's really that's surprised me what Kevin Feige has said. So I'm very looking forward to this Spider-Man. Oops, excuse me, just dropped my phone. Now back to what I was saying. This is actually great news, what I've heard now, because I wanted to know what was going on. So that's kind of made me happy now to hear what's happening with him, and that's made me more excitement, more happy, and making me exciting. You know, I just can't wait now to see this Spider-Man, in this MCU version. So I'm looking forward to that now, and I hope we do see him in Civil War. I hope he has the same role what he had in the Civil War comic books. So I'll be looking forward to that. And we're not far off now for the Avengers film. I think it's around like 2 weeks now. I think it's 2 weeks we got now to the Spider-Man film. I mean not Spider-Man. Sorry, because all the Spider-Man talk, I'm saying his name now. I mean for the Avengers. I ain't got that long now. I can't wait to see that, and I hope it does good. So that's all the news here. So I didn't want to say my last one, but I'm just saying it here. As a normal, you can find the pictures and TV spots and trailers for Marvel stuff in my Facebook, Marvel page in the description below. Also, subscribe, I'll put that down in the description. And you want to make a comment on anything of this news you hear, put your comments on that one. Put your comments on this video and the news from the first video. Put your comments there as well. Put a like on this video, and I'll see you again soon, my friends. Peace.